The jungle was never quiet at night. Strange calls of beasts echoed through the thick trees, and glowing insects drifted like sparks in the darkness. But tonight was different. The silence was heavy, broken only by the sound of the earth groaning. The ground itself seemed alive, trembling under something powerful. Ethan, a lone human stranded on this alien world, pushed aside a curtain of giant leaves. His heart beat fast. He had survived storms, poisonous plants, and stalking predators. But never had the jungle felt like this. Something was coming. Something massive. He crouched low, gripping the sharp piece of metal he carried as a weapon. It was nothing compared to the claws and teeth of the beasts here, but it gave him comfort. The soil shifted beneath his boots, and a tree nearby groaned before toppling with a crash. Birds with glowing wings burst into the sky, shrieking. Ethan froze. The air grew warmer, the heavy scent of earth mixing with something sharp like lightning before a storm. Then he heard it. Heavy steps, slow and deliberate. Each one made the ground shake, each one closer than the last. His first thought was a predator, one of the giant lizard beasts he had seen from afar. But then the shadows moved, and through the thick vines and broken branches, he saw a figure. No two figures. At first, he thought they were statues carved from silver and shadow. But as they stepped into the faint glow of the alien moon, his eyes widened. They were women. No, not human women. Alien women. And not just tall, but towering 12 feet high, their bodies sculpted with power, their skin shimmering faintly like polished stone. They were sisters. He could see it in their eyes. Sharp and golden, filled with the same fire. One had long, dark hair that fell like rivers over her shoulders. The other's was braided tightly behind her, giving her the look of a warrior ready for war. Both were beautiful in a way that made his chest tighten, but dangerous in a way that made his blood run cold. They looked at him. Not at the trees, not at the beasts that fled in fear. Only at him. Ethan's grip on his weapon weakened. His voice caught in his throat. What are you?" The one with braided hair tilted her head, her lips curving into something between a smile and a snarl. She stepped forward, and the ground shook. Her voice was deep and commanding, though strangely soft at the edges. "You are the one," she said. Her alien tongue twisted the words strangely, but somehow Ethan understood. "He is mine." Before he could answer, the other sister moved. Swiftly, her long hair glowing faintly in the moonlight. She blocked her sister's path, her own golden eyes locked on Ethan. "No," she hissed. "The human belongs to me." Ethan stumbled back, his back hitting the trunk of a tree. The jungle around them seemed to hold its breath. Even the insects had gone silent. The sisters glared at each other, their towering forms casting long shadows. Over him, the warrior's hand twitched, her claws scraping against the bark of a fallen tree. The other sister's hair lifted slightly, as if alive, shimmering with strange energy. Ethan's mind raced. Belongs? What did they mean? Why him? He was just a survivor, a lost human trying to stay alive in a jungle that wanted to eat him. But to them, he was something more. The warrior stepped closer, her hot breath rolling over him like a wave. "Human," she said, bending down so her golden eyes were level with his. "You will walk with me." "No," the other sister interrupted, her voice sharp as steel. "He will stay with me. He is mine to protect." The tension snapped like a BOWS, TRIND, with a roar that shook the canopy. The warrior swung her arm, slamming it against the ground near her sister's feet. The impact split the earth, sending roots and dirt flying. Birds screamed as they fled into the night sky. The gentler sister answered with a strike of her own. She slammed her clawed hand into the ground, and glowing vines shot up, wrapping around the broken earth. Energy crackled through the plants, making them glow like fire. Ethan dropped his weapon, his chest heaving. They weren't just sisters, they were rivals. And he was at the center of their war, The jungle trembled again, louder, stronger. Trees bent and cracked as the sisters circled each other, both keeping their eyes locked on him. Their massive forms moved with grace, every motion promising violence. Ethan whispered to himself, "This can't be real." But it was. The air grew hotter, the ground splitting with every step they took. His heart pounded so loud he thought they might hear it. For the first time since arriving on this cursed world, Ethan felt something worse than fear. He felt wanted. The sisters' voices rose in unison, echoing across the jungle like thunder. "He is mine." And as they lunged at each other, the earth split open beneath Ethan's feet. He stumbled, falling back into the shadows of the trees, his breath catching as he realized the fight had only just begun. The night sky burned with silver light as the two alien sisters clashed. Every movement shook the jungle. Trees toppled. Animals screamed and fled, and Ethan stood frozen, his heart hammering in his chest. He should have run. Any sane man would have sprinted deep into the jungle, away from those 12-foot warriors. But his legs refused to move. Their golden eyes were locked on him, glowing with something more dangerous than hunger. Possession. The warrior sister struck first. Her braid whipped behind her as she lunged forward, claws outstretched. She slammed her hand into the earth, cracking it wide open. "He is mine," she roared, her voice carrying through the forest like thunder. Her sister, the one with flowing hair, blocked her path. She raised her arms, and glowing vines erupted from the ground, wrapping around the warrior's legs. "No," she hissed. "The human is not your prize. He belongs to me." Ethan's throat went dry. Prize? Belongs? The words twisted in his mind like a storm. He wasn't a warrior. He wasn't a king. He was a survivor, a lost human. Why did these powerful creatures fight over him? The warrior tore through the vines like they were paper. She snarled, stepping closer to Ethan. Her hand reached out, enormous fingers curling around him before he could move. Her palm pressed against his chest, her touch hot and rough. "You are mine now," she growled. Ethan gasped, his body lifted, slightly off the ground by her strength. He could feel the tremor of her pulse, the heat of her skin. It was terrifying, and yet part of him froze not from fear, but from the shock of being chosen. But the gentler sister would not allow it. With a cry, she leapt forward, her glowing hair whipping through the air. It wrapped around Ethan like a shield, pulling him from her sister's grip. She cradled him against her chest, her voice shaking as she whispered, "No harm will come. To you, I will keep you safe, human." Safe. The word struck him like lightning. In a jungle that had only ever tried to kill him, she spoke it as if she truly meant it. The warrior snarled, her claws sparking against the ground. "Safe? He is not yours to keep. He will be mine by force or by choice." "Choice," the other sister said, her voice soft but firm. She held Ethan closer, her golden eyes meeting his. Let him choose. Ethan's chest tightened. Their eyes were both on him now. His mouth went dry. He had never been more afraid, and yet never more alive. He wanted to shout that he wasn't a prize, wasn't something to claim. But the words wouldn't come. The gentler sister's arms were strong but soft, her warmth pressing against him, while the warrior's raw power still lingered in the memory of her touch. The jungle shook again as the sisters circled each other. Trees burst apart, vines snapped, and the ground split under their weight. Each step they took seemed to pull Ethan deeper into a storm he couldn't escape. "Speak, human," the warrior demanded, her voice sharp as steel. "Say my name, and I will destroy anything that dares touch you." Her rival leaned down, her breath cool against his face. "Or say mine," she whispered, "and I will protect you until the stars burn out." Ethan's hands shook. His mind screamed at him to stay silent, to run, to hide. But his heart was pounding in a rhythm that belonged to neither fear nor reason. Both sisters wanted him. Both sisters would fight until the jungle itself was destroyed. He swallowed hard. I can't choose." The words slipped out before he could stop them. The warrior's eyes narrowed. The gentler sister's face softened with sadness. Silence stretched across the broken clearing. Then the warrior laughed. It was not a tinta kind laugh. It was the laugh of thunder before the storm. "Then I will make the choice for you." She lunged. The gentler sister spun, pulling Ethan tight against her chest. She leapt back just in time as the warrior's claws split the earth. Where he had stood, the ground shook, sending waves of dirt and stone flying. Ethan screamed, clinging to her. His voice was swallowed by the roar of the sisters' fury. The jungle trembled louder than ever. Trees fell like grass before their strength. Sparks lit the night sky. Their fight was not just about him. It was about power, blood, and a bond that could never be broken. And Ethan, the human caught between them, realized something terrifying. This was only the beginning. The jungle had seen storms before, but never a storm like this. Ethan's chest rose and fell fast as the two giant sisters circled each other, their golden eyes blazing in the moonlight. The air crackled, hot and heavy, filled with the scent of burning sap and crushed leaves. Every breath he took tasted of dust and lightning. The warrior sister was the first to strike. With a roar, she leapt forward, her claws glowing faintly as they cut through the air. She moved faster than anything her size should. The ground split where she landed, and shockwaves rippled through the trees. The gentler sister reacted instantly. Her long, glowing hair snapped outward like whips, wrapping around her rival's wrist. Energy pulsed through it, sparks lighting the shadows. With a sharp twist, she yanked the warrior off balance, sending her crashing into a thick stone boulder. Boulder shattered. Ethan stumbled back, shielding his face from flying shards. The sound of cracking rock thundered through the clearing. Birds shrieked and scattered, glowing wings lighting up the sky like falling stars. The warrior rose slowly. From the rubble, her lips curling into a snarl. She wiped blood from the corner of her mouth, golden eyes burning hotter than before. "You think vines and tricks will stop me?" She growled. Her voice was fire. Her sister said nothing. She only spread her arms, her hair glowing brighter. Vines bursting from the earth to coil protectively around Ethan. She didn't attack, she guarded. She stood like a shield between him and the storm. Ethan's heart pounded. The earth shivered beneath his boots. He wanted to scream at them to stop, to tell them he wasn't worth this destruction. But his voice was locked inside his throat. All he could do was watch as two goddesses of war battled over him. The warrior charged again. This time she was faster. She slipped past the glowing vines, her claws slashing through them as if they were nothing. Sparks burst, smoke rose, and before Ethan could blink, she was face to face with her sister. Their clash shook the jungle. The warrior's claws met the gentler sister's glowing hair, the impact sending shockwaves that split the ground. Trees toppled like grass, the air filled with dust and ash. Ethan fell to his knees, clutching his ears as the sound roared through him. The sisters were locked together, strength against strength. The warrior's muscles rippled, veins glowing faintly beneath her stone-like skin. The gentler one pushed back, her glowing hair wrapping tighter, her breath sharp as she fought to hold her ground. Neither moved. Neither gave in until the warrior laughed out with a sudden twist. She let the hair pull her closer instead of resisting. Her claws raked across her sister's shoulder, slicing deep. Blue light burst from the wound, not blood but energy, spraying across the jungle floor. The gentler sister cried out, stumbling back, her glowing vines flickering weakly. For the first time, Ethan saw her pain, and it struck him harder than the sound of crashing trees. The warrior advanced, her steps shaking the ground. She glanced at Ethan, her smile sharp and cruel. "See, human? She cannot protect you. She bleeds. She breaks. Choose me, and I will kill for you." I will tear this jungle apart until nothing threatens you again. Her voice was a promise and a threat at once. The gentler sister pressed a hand against her wound, her glowing eyes softening as they met Ethan's. "Do not listen," she whispered, her voice shaking but still steady. "I fight not to own you, but to keep you safe. I will not let her harm you." Ethan's head spun. His breath came fast, chest rising and falling as he looked between them. The jungle was dying around them, their power too much for this place. Trees burned, animals screamed. The ground split wider with every clash, and all of it was for him. The warrior lunged again, this time not at her sister, but at Ethan, her claw stretched out, massive fingers reaching for him. The air itself seemed to split with the force of her strike. Ethan's body froze. His mind screamed at him to run, but his legs wouldn't move. At the last moment, the gentler sister threw herself between them. Her glowing hair wrapped around Ethan, dragging him out of reach, just as the warrior's claw slammed into the earth. The ground exploded, soil and rock blasting into the air. Ethan gasped, clutching the glowing strands that shielded him. He could feel her heart pounding through the light, steady and strong despite her wound. The warrior snarled, ripping her hand from the crater she had made. Her eyes blazed with fury. "You cannot keep him from me." The gentler one stood tall, her body trembling but unbroken. Her golden eyes locked on her sister's, her voice soft but firm. "Then you will have to kill me first." The jungle fell silent for a heartbeat. Ethan realized with terror that this was no longer just a battle. It was a war between blood, pride, and desire. A war that would not end until one sister lay broken on the ground. And he, the human, caught. In the middle was the spark that lit the fire. The jungle clearing was broken beyond recognition. Trees lay shattered, the ground cracked into deep scars, and smoke rose from burning roots. The stars above glowed faintly, their light dim compared to the sparks of power flashing between the two giant sisters. Ethan stood trembling, his breath ragged. His ears rang from the force of their clash, but it was their eyes that pinned him where he was. Golden, fierce, burning, both pairs locked on him, demanding. The warrior's sister took a step forward, her bare feet crushing stone into powder. Her braid swung behind her like the tail of a predator. Her voice rumbled low and dangerous. "Human," she said, each word sharp, "you are mine. Say it, speak it now, and I will end this fight. I will guard you with my life." Ethan opened his mouth, but no words came. The gentler sister moved before he could answer. She was bleeding still, faint blue light seeping from the wound on her shoulder, but her stance was strong. Her long glowing hair floated as if alive, forming a shield between Ethan and her rival. "No," she said softly, but her voice carried strength. "You will not force him. He is not a possession. He will choose." "Choose?" the warrior spat, her lips curling into a snarl. "What choice is there? He will not survive in this jungle without power, without me. You coddle him, but you cannot protect him forever." Her sister's golden eyes softened, and she bent slightly toward Ethan, her voice lowered, almost a whisper only he could hear. "Do not let her frighten you. I will not take you as a prize. I will stand with you, even if it costs me my life." Ethan's chest tightened, his hands shook. He wanted to deny them both, to scream that he was no one, that he was just a man lost in a world too dangerous for him. But their eyes burned into him, and deep down he knew whether he liked it or not. His words would decide their fate. The warrior crouched low, claws digging into the ground. Her voice dropped to a growl. "Speak, human. Say my name and I will crush her beneath me. Say nothing, and I will take you by force." The gentler one touched Ethan's shoulder with her glowing hair, her warmth steady against his skin. "Or say my name," she whispered, "and I will never let her harm you, even if I must bleed again." The silence stretched, heavy and suffocating. Ethan swallowed hard. His throat was dry as sand. His heart pounded so loud it drowned out the crackling fires around him. They wanted his voice. His choice. But what choice was this? Between death and desire? Between power and protection? He whispered, almost without realizing, "Why me?" Both sisters froze. The warrior blinked, surprise, flashing in her eyes before turning into a smile that looked more like hunger. "Because you are the last of your kind here," she said. "The human blood is rare, strong. You will make me unchallenged." Her sister's voice was softer, sadder. "Because you are not like us. You see more than battle, you feel. I saw it in your eyes the moment you looked at me. That is why I fight." Ethan staggered back, his mind spinning. To them he was more than prey, more than a survivor. He was a future. The warrior rose to her full height, towering over him like a goddess of war. Her golden eyes glowed hotter, her voice booming. "Do not hesitate, human. Your silence is weakness. Say it now, or I will end this farce with blood." The gentler one lifted her hand, strands of glowing hair swirling around Ethan protectively. "No, you will not touch him until he speaks from his own will." Their voices clashed in the air like thunder, rattling Ethan's bones. The warrior struck the ground, sending a shockwave through the clearing. The gentler one answered with a flare of light, vines bursting from the cracked earth. Sparks filled the air as the jungle trembled beneath their rage. Ethan fell to his knees, covering his ears. His heart raced. He wanted to scream, to run, to disappear. But he knew one truth now. He couldn't escape. He was the center of this storm. And no matter what, he would have to choose. The warrior leaned forward, her golden eyes burning with fire. "Say me, human, and the jungle will bow." Her sister lowered her head, her voice trembling but resolute. "Say me, and I will give my life for yours." The clearing fell silent again. The fire crackled. Smoke curled into the night. Ethan raised his head slowly, his lips parting, about to speak, and then the ground beneath them split wide open, a deep rumble shaking the jungle to its core. Roots tore apart, the earth collapsing into a dark chasm. All three of them staggered as the jungle itself seemed to scream. The sisters froze mid-motion, their battle forgotten for a heartbeat. Ethan's breath caught as he realized the truth. The jungle was breaking under their fight, if he did not choose. Soon, it would not just be him who paid the price, it would be the entire world around them. The crack in the earth widened, splitting trees apart as though the jungle itself was breaking in two. Roots dangled into the abyss, glowing insects scattered into the night, and the air filled with smoke and heat. Ethan stumbled, barely catching himself on a jagged stone. His lungs burned. The ground beneath him was unstable, shaking with every step of the sisters as they squared off again. The warrior's golden eyes gleamed with fury. She spread her arms wide, claws flashing in the moonlight. "If you will not choose, then the jungle itself will decide." She roared. Her body glowed faintly, her skin streaked with veins of fire. She slammed her claws into the ground, and from the cracks, molten light poured out. Flames erupted from the earth, racing along the roots and branches. The jungle ignited. Ethan gasped, throwing his arm over his face as the heat seared his skin. The trees, once towering and alive, burned like dry paper. Sparks rose into the night sky, turning it red and gold. The gentler sister's face twisted in shock. "Are you mad?" she cried. She leapt forward, her glowing hair whipping through the flames. With a sweep of her hand, vines surged from the ground, pulling up water from deep roots. Steam hissed as water clashed with fire, but the blaze kept spreading. Animals fled in waves, their screams piercing the night. Great beasts crashed through the trees, smaller creatures darted underfoot. Ethan barely dodged as a scaled lizard, 3 times his size, stampeded past him in blind terror. The warrior laughed, her voice deep and cruel. "Let it burn. Let the world see his worth. Only the strongest can claim him, and I am strength itself." She lunged again, her claws striking out not at her sister this time, but at the very vines and roots of the jungle. The ground split wider. The fire raged hotter, and the night turned into a storm of ash. Ethan coughed, his throat raw. The gentler sister shielded him with her glowing hair, her face etched with both pain and determination. She looked down at him, her voice breaking. "Stay. With me, human. Do not move. I will not let the flames take you." Her warmth pressed against him, her glow holding back the fire in a fragile circle of light. But Ethan could see her trembling. The wound on her shoulder still bled faint blue light, and every vine she summoned seemed weaker than the last. Warrior saw it too. Her smile widened. "You grow weaker, sister. He will see the truth. You cannot protect him." With a roar, she struck again. Her claws tore through another line of vines, sparks exploding outward. Flames leapt higher, licking at the trees until the entire canopy glowed like a sky of fire. Ethan's mind raced. He couldn't just hide behind her. The jungle was collapsing. The fire was spreading too fast, and the ground quaked under every blow. If he stayed here, if they kept fighting, he wouldn't live to make any choice at all. He forced himself to his feet, shouting over the roar of flames. "Stop this, both of you!" For a moment, both sisters froze. Their golden eyes snapped toward him, blazing through the smoke. The warrior tilted her head, her voice mocking. "You finally find your tongue, little human." The gentler one touched his arm, her voice soft despite the chaos. "Do not anger her. Please." But Ethan shook his head, his chest heaving. "If you burn this jungle, if you tear it apart, there won't be anything left for me or for you. Do you want me to choose? Then stop destroying everything around us." The words hung heavy in the firelit air. The warrior's smile faltered, but only for a moment. Then she snarled, her voice sharp as steel. "Weak words. I do not want your world. I want you. And if the jungle must fall, let it fall." The gentler sister's hand clenched tight. Her glowing hair flared brighter, forming a shield around Ethan as she faced her sister head-on. "Then you will have to go through me." And with that, she attacked. Her glowing hair lashed out like whips, striking the warrior's chest and arms. Sparks flew as the warrior blocked, claws slashing through strands of light. The air filled with thunder as the two giants clashed, their fight echoing through the burning jungle. Ethan staggered back, smoke choking his lungs. His eyes stung with tears, his body weak from the heat. He could barely see them now, two shadows in a sea of fire, their forms glowing as they struck, blocked, and struck again. The jungle screamed around them. Trees cracked, beasts howled. Fire devoured. And Ethan realized something horrifying. The sisters weren't fighting just for him anymore. They were fighting to prove who ruled not only his fate, but the fate of this burning world. He collapsed to his knees, coughing, his voice lost in the roar of the flames. His chest burned, his vision blurred. He thought he might pass out, but through the fire, he saw their eyes, two golden lights in the smoke, both fixed on him even as they tore the jungle apart. They would never stop, not until he made the choice. The jungle was no longer a jungle. It was a battlefield of fire and ash. Flames climbed the broken trees. Smoke blotted out the stars, and the ground split with glowing cracks that swallowed roots whole. The air shook with every blow of the alien sisters, each strike a thunderclap, each clash sending shockwaves through the burning forest. Ethan staggered through the smoke, his chest aching, lungs burning. He could hear their voices above the roar of the flames, roars, snarls, cries of fury and pain. And always, always their golden eyes found him in the chaos. He could not run. Not anymore. For days he had hidden, surviving in shadows, letting fear control every step. But now, with the jungle collapsing, he understood a truth that made his heart beat harder. If he kept hiding, if he stayed silent, everything would end. The warrior tore through a wall of fire, her braid whipping behind, her claws glowing as she advanced. She pointed at Ethan, her voice like rolling thunder. "Speak, human. Call me yours, and I will end this." The gentler sister stepped in front of him, her glowing hair wrapping protectively around his body. She was trembling, her wound still, bleeding faint blue light, but her voice did not waver. "Do not command him. He is not a tool for your pride. He will speak only if he chooses." Her rival laughed, the sound deep and cruel. "Then he will die with you." She lunged. The gentler one blocked, her hair lashing outward, sparks exploding as the two collided. Again, their strikes lit up the smoke-filled night, each one enough to break stone, each one shaking the very earth. Ethan dropped to his knees, covering his head. But then something inside him snapped. He could not let this continue. Not for himself, not for the jungle, not for them. Gritting his teeth, Ethan forced himself to stand. His legs shook, his throat dry, but he pushed through the terror. He stepped forward into the circle of firelight, into the storm of their rage. "Stop!" he shouted. The word carried, louder than he expected. Both sisters froze mid-strike, their golden eyes locking on him in shock. The jungle, even through its burning, seemed to fall silent for that heartbeat. Ethan's chest heaved. His eyes burned from smoke, but he stood tall, refusing to shrink back under their gaze. "No more. Do you hear me? I am not a prize. I am not something to be owned." The warrior's lips curled, ready to snarl. But Ethan pointed at her, his voice firm. "You call yourself strength, but you destroy everything around you. You think that makes you worthy? It doesn't. It makes you a monster." The gentler sister's eyes widened, but Ethan turned to her as well. "And you protect me. But you treat me like I'm fragile, like I can't stand on my own. I can't survive this world if I'm only hiding behind you." Her mouth opened, but no words came. Ethan clenched his fists, his voice rising, raw but strong. "If either of you truly want me, then prove it not by tearing down this jungle, not by fighting each other, but by showing you can listen, by showing you can respect me, not claim me." The warrior snarled, her claws digging into the scorched earth. "You dare? Yes, I dare." Ethan cut her off, stepping closer despite the heat of her rage. "I've been afraid since the moment I landed on this world. Afraid of every beast, every shadow, even of you. But not anymore. I will not live as a prize. I will not bow. If you want me, you will earn me." The silence that followed was heavier than the smoke. The warrior's golden eyes blazed, but there was hesitation in them, now hesitation that had never been there before. The gentler one lowered her gaze, her glowing hair dimming slightly, as though humbled by his words. For the first time, both sisters seemed unsure. The flames roared around them, the jungle groaning as it continued to collapse. But for that moment, the true battle had stopped. Ethan's voice lowered, steady, commanding in its own way. "If you can't stop fighting, then I will choose neither of you. I'd rather burn with this jungle than be caged by pride or pity." The words struck them both like a blade. The warrior's claws twitched, but she did not strike. The gentler sister's hands trembled, but she did not move forward. They only stared at him, stunned. And then slowly, the firelight reflected something new in their golden eyes, not just desire, not just fury, but respect. The jungle still burned, the ground still shook. But for the first time, Ethan was not the hunted, not the prize. He was the one who stood. The fire roared around the clearing, but the sisters no longer moved. They stood frozen, golden eyes locked on Ethan, their breaths ragged, their bodies trembling from battle. The jungle groaned under the weight of silence, smoke drifting upward. Like the last breath of a dying world. Ethan stood at the center, chest heaving, legs weak but steady. His words still echoed in the air. I am not a prize. If you want me, you will earn me." The warrior was the first to break the silence. Her lips curved into a sharp smile, though her claws still trembled with restrained fury. "Bold words. For prey." Her voice was lower now, quieter, but it carried something new, a hint of respect. The gentler sister stepped forward slowly, her glowing hair dimming as if she no longer wanted to fight. Her golden eyes softened, filled not with hunger but with something deeper. "He is no prey," she whispered. "He is more than either of us believed." Ethan swallowed, his throat dry. He had spoken without thinking, driven by fire and fear, but now both giants waited on his next breath. His choice was no longer about survival, it was about trust. About who he wanted beside him when the flames died. The warrior crouched low, her massive body lowering until her eyes were level with his. The heat of her presence rolled over him like a storm. "Human," she said, her voice steady, "choose me. I will burn this jungle to ash, but you will never be afraid again. My strength will be yours." Her words were sharp, but her eyes betrayed a glimmer of vulnerability, something she would never admit aloud. The gentler sister knelt as well, her glowing hair curling gently around Ethan without binding him. She spoke softly, like rain against fire. "Choose me. I will not promise you a world without danger, but I will walk beside you through every danger. I will bleed, fight, and endure with you, not for you, but with you." Her words struck him differently. They were not a command, but a plea. Ethan's chest tightened. The flames roared higher, the ground groaned under their weight, but his mind was trapped between their voices. One promised safety in chains, the other companionship in struggle. Both offered power. Both offered devotion, but only one could stand with him when the world burned. He closed his eyes for a moment. His heart pounded, his body shook. When he opened them again, both sisters were still waiting, eyes glowing, bodies tense, ready for the truth. Ethan took a breath. "I will." The ground split. A violent quake ripped through the clearing, louder than anything before. The fire swirled as if sucked into the earth. The sisters staggered, their balance thrown off, and Ethan fell hard to the ground. From the chasm beneath them, something stirred. A low, guttural roar shook the jungle, deeper than thunder, older than the trees themselves. The flames bent inward, sucked toward the dark pit. Ethan's blood ran cold. Whatever was beneath the jungle had been awakened. The sisters froze, their golden eyes wide. For the first time since Ethan had seen them, fear flickered across their faces. The warrior growled low, her claws flexing. "We are not alone." The gentler one pulled Ethan close, her glowing hair wrapping around him protectively. "The jungle has a heart," she whispered, "and it is angry." The roar came again, shaking the entire world. A colossal shadow rose from the depths, its form hidden in fire and smoke, but its size dwarfing even the 12-foot sisters. Ethan's words died on his lips. His choice would have to wait, because now it wasn't just about desire, it was about survival. The sisters turned to face the rising shadow, both instinctively stepping in front of Ethan. Their rivalry, their battle, their hunger for him, it all burned away in the face of this new terror. For the first time, they stood side by side, and Ethan, trembling but resolute, realized his final choice was no longer about which sister he wanted, it was about whether he could stand with them both. Against the darkness that had just awakened, the fire roared higher, the shadow rose taller, and the jungle screamed. The end had only just begun.